Hello, and welcome to our session today, the next generation of world record-setting compute for a hybrid world. Today's webinar is sponsored by Hewlett-Packard Enterprise and AMD and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech Media, and I'm excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great content, we do have a few housekeeping items that will help you get the most out of this session. First off, we want this to be an informative event for you, so we encourage any questions in the questions box in our webinar control panel. That is, of course, what makes these events great is when you have lots of questions and we have experts on the call to answer those questions. So not only will we have team members responding to questions during the live event, but we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation where we'll discuss in greater detail some of the top questions that you ask. That Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues you might be experiencing. A browser refresh will fix most audio or slide advancement issues, but if that doesn't work, just let us know in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. Second, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources. I'd especially like to call your attention to an HPE and AMD partner page link that's there at the top of your handouts list. Also in there, you'll find a link to the Gorilla Guide Book Club where you can get access to Actual Tech Media's great printed resources on technology topics, as well as a link to the ATM Event Center, which has our calendar of upcoming events. So I encourage you to access those resources now and share them with your friends and colleagues. Third, at the end of this webinar event, we will be awarding a $300 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for that prize. Official terms and conditions of the prize drawing can be found also in your handout section. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the prize terms and conditions link there. Finally, as I said, one of the best benefits of this event is that opportunity to ask a question of our expert presenters, who I'm about to tell you who they are. So to help encourage your questions, we have a special additional prize for you. That's another Amazon gift card, this one for $50 for the best question. At the end of the event, we'll look at all the questions that came in, pick out the very best one, and contact that prize winner. So with that, let's get to today's fantastic content. It is my pleasure to introduce you to our presenters today. I'll go here in order that they're going to speak. So we have Radley Barber, who's a director in the Enterprise and HPC Business Unit at AMD. And we have Darren Anthony, who's a director of product management at HPE. So now I'm going to turn things over to Radley to get us.
Hello, my name is Radley Barber, and I'm here with AMD Server Business Unit to talk a little bit about what we're doing most recently here with our Epic products. It's really an exciting time for us, and it's very rare for us to be able to come and talk about these kinds of performance games generation over generation. So I'm really excited to be here to talk about it. First off, a reminder that AMD has been in the compute space for over 50 years. Most recently, it's been about reestablishing ourselves in the data center. That journey began for us in 2017 with the launch of our first generation Epic product, and we've now most recently launched the fourth generation of that product series. Added to that, we've got a set of GPU accelerators with our AMD Instinct product line, and through the acquisition of Xilinx and Pensando, we're able to add the ability of SmartNICs, DPUs, FPGAs, and adaptive SoCs. All of these with the focus of delivering performance, efficiency, and security features. AMD has a unique set of offerings across the whole data center to solve customer challenges. And really, when it's specific to Epic, it's about, for us, delivering what customers are asking for. That comes in the form of the highest performing x86 CPU, along with leaning in with our leadership x86 energy efficiency to support our partners' sustainability goals. The combination of those two things allows us to deliver outstanding TCO across workloads and industries. Added to that is a focus on powering confidential computing and working with our partners to deliver a rich ecosystem of solutions. With this latest generation of Epic, we're delivering our latest generation, our fourth generation Zen core, that allows us to get up to 96 cores in a single socket. Added to that set of innovations is we've got the launch of PCI Gen 5 in the platform, as well as industry-leading memory bandwidth with 12 channels of DDR5 memory per CPU. We're adding support for CXL memory expansion and leaning in with security there with enabling AMD SEV on that CXL. as well as adding new important instructions from AVX512 to bfloat16 and VNNI, and continuing to build upon industry-leading security features in Infinity Guard, and this generation adding new features in that space. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this is an unprecedented type of uplift in performance. Generation to generation, it's up to 2x performance improvement. And what's most exciting about it is that it's not focused in any individual workload or vertical. Whether you're looking at data management, technical computing, infrastructure deployments, or business applications, it's unprecedented, unquestioned leadership performance across the board there. And as Darren will talk in a little bit, much of this built on top of the HPE portfolio. With this latest generation of Epic, we're now able to talk about over 300 world records across all of the workloads. And it's, again, really exciting to be able to go do that. And the partnership with HPE has been an amazing one. They've been a foundational partner from even before the Epic days. And a lot of that is aligned to the fact that we have a lot of common goals. In particular, both companies are focused and trusted leaders in performance and delivering the highest performing CPUs with highest performing systems. We've got a focus both of delivering secure environments, both at the CPU and at the system level for the life cycle of the product, as well as delivering a focused delivery of flexibility and maximizing our partners' efficiency. We've got that in the capability of a single socket, no compromise set of offerings, as well as highest performing dual socket, and a full portfolio of offerings that, again, allow customers to maximize that efficiency. And then we've worked tirelessly to identify and build and validate solutions that just work. So you can have confidence that the solution that you're getting from AMD and HPE are going to be functional, performant, and ready to go. So regardless whether it's small business, enterprise, or exascale, you can count on the highest performing x86 CPU with an industry-leading server provider to solve real business problems. And it's hard not to look at the HPC space as a shining example of that partnership and that performance leadership. We can point to a whole host of HPE and AMD wins in the HPE space, but one critical thing, or one shining example of that, is the Frontier deployment. That is the #1 supercomputer in the world and the first to break the exascale barrier. That's a system that's built with AMD Epic CPUs, AMD Instinct GPUs, on top of that HPE Cray infrastructure to deliver the highest performing supercomputer in the world. And not only that, it's at the top of the top Green 500. And that set of offerings now allows us to expand the portfolio with HPE even more broadly. We've had a whole host of solutions in the ProLiant life of Gen 10, as well as now with these products to be able to introduce a new set of systems within that portfolio, as well as add in a new HPE Cray XT2000 system, a dense compute platform from HPC, as well as extend our presence in the Cray line with an HPE Cray EX2500 for supercompute. Again, regardless whether you're looking SMB or enterprise, HPC and AI, supercompute and storage, there is a set of offerings with AMD and HPE that's going to solve your customers' needs. So with that, I'll hand it off to Darren. I'll stick around for some questions. Again, I appreciate the time and having me on. This is a really exciting time for AMD. It's a really exciting time to be partnered with HPE and really looking forward to what we're going to go do together here. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Radley. Now let's spend the next few minutes and talk about the next generation HPE ProLiant compute that is engineered for your hybrid world. So HPE ProLiant is secure, efficient, optimized, and it's engineered for hybrid environments. It delivers an intuitive cloud operating experience from the edge to data center to the cloud, trusted security by design, and delivers optimized performance for your workloads. So let's talk a little bit about that intuitive cloud operating experience. So in June of this year, we announced HPE GreenLake for Compute Ops Management, also known as COM. So it delivers simplicity, the lifecycle management capabilities, enabling customers to pivot from reactive to proactive while keeping it simple, unifying through a centralized console, and automating tasks for efficiency, reducing manual efforts. Enables a simplified server lifecycle management for monitoring firmware updates, as well as delivers enterprise security with secure authentication and multi-tenant isolation. What's new for Gen 11 is we're now offering a standard tier license bundled with all Gen 11 servers. We're delivering a carbon footprint report that enables customers to view their emission metrics for an individual server as well as for the entire environment, and adding automated support case creation and notifications for our critical hardware updates. So here's a view of where HPE GreenLake for Compute Management fits into the compute management portfolio. So on the bottom, we have HPE ILO. This is embedded server management. This is the foundation of our management capabilities. This is where the system analytics are produced for the individual server itself. Moving up to the top, HPE OneView is an on-premise offering for infrastructure management. This is an ideal offering for customers that may be a HPE Synergy customer or customers that need an on-premise offering without any connections to the internet. Great solution for that, for infrastructure management on-premise. And then we have HPE GreenLake for Compute Management, which we just talked about a little bit. This is the lifecycle management for all servers from edge to cloud, wherever the server may be, in the closet, in the data center. This is a tremendous offering for lifecycle management that's delivered as a software as a service application. Now let's talk a little bit about the Gen 11 security. So this Gen 11 is just a continuation of the HPE engineering innovation around security and silicon root of trust. We know that security is only as strong as the layer below the point of attack. Today, silicon root of trust protects millions of lines of firmware code and 4 million HPE servers around the world. What's new is that we're adding a layer of support with platform certificates and iDev ID, as well as having the TPM installed by default. All of this together enables newly installed servers to be trusted devices in the customer's environment. Now we're extending that silicon root of trust to select storage controllers and NICs through the SPDM capabilities by adding protection where we now have authentication using ILO 6. And then we've already had trusted supply chain security, and now we're just extending that to a worldwide offering and expanding it for those customers that need a trusted supply chain. So you tie all that security together, delivering a chain of trust from supply chain to the boot stack, to the platform, and all the way up to the applications. This is a complete offering from the hardware up to the cloud with our compute ops, our HPE GreenLake security and our compute ops management. Now let's talk about how HPE ProLiant Next Generation Compute will optimize performance for your workloads. HPE ProLiant Gen 11 was designed to deliver the advanced performance that a modern data-centric enterprise requires. While designing the new Gen 11 servers, we had three key focus areas. First, to deliver new levels of efficiency to power applications with the right economics for optimal business value. Second, this new generation brings optimal performance for demanding applications that require the most advanced graphics and data acceleration. And finally, an open approach, which we've talked a little bit about already. We'll talk more about it in a minute, but an open approach building on HPE's commitment to industry standards. But first, time for a little bragging. So with HPE ProLiant and the AMD Epic processors, we have 43 world records with 28 new world records for HPE ProLiant Gen 11. So a tremendous testament to the performance leadership from HPE. So as far as performance is concerned, with Gen 11, we're seeing up to 99% higher performance compared to previous generations. And despite this increased performance, many of the next generation servers are also more energy efficient, with some up to 43% more energy efficient compared to previous generations. also delivering 50% more cores per CPU for improved workload consolidation, 2x more I/O bandwidth with more room for data and graphics acceleration, and future-proofing your business with scalability, efficiency, and greater performance. The net result is you'll see significant performance increases and consolidation opportunities, all giving you better TCO and increased ROI. With the new Gen 11 platforms, we have more graphics capabilities than ever before, up to 33% more high-performance GPU density per server to power the next generation workloads. And finally, the open approach. We're enabling more infrastructure as code with expanded support for industry protocols like Redfish, PLDM, and SPDM, which I talked about on the security slide. We've also increased the adoption of the Open Compute Project, or OCP standards, by now supporting storage controllers that are OCP standard. Now let's take a look at the AMD-based HPE ProLiant Gen11 portfolio. So on the left, we have the 1U, 1P, or one processor platform. This is really ideal for low-end VDI or CDN offering. Delivers really great price performance, core count, tremendous server for software-defined compute. Going to the right, we have the 2U, 1P, or a one processor platform. Great software-defined storage offering, great storage server. Because it is a 2U, a lot more storage that can be installed. Moving over, next one to the right, we have the 1U, 2-socket or 2-processor platform, our DL365. Great solution for those customers that need a dense offering, a lot of cores in a rack, dense virtualization solution, great server for EDA and VDI. And then our 2U, 2P, or accelerator optimized solution, which is the DL385. Maximum GPU support, high core count, I/O bandwidth, a lot of PCI slots for expansion. Great solution for VDI, as well as high-end virtualization offerings. So great set of platforms here that we have in Gen 11. And let's move on and talk about, for those customers that are looking at new servers, that may also be looking for something that from a consumption model perspective, or they're looking for a hybrid cloud offering. HPE GreenLake, can't move on without talking about HPE GreenLake for compute. We have self-service, pay-per-use. You can scale up or scale down. It's managed for you. So really great offering. Gen 11 servers are actually ready to support with HPE GreenLake. So if you're looking for a pay-per-use, a consumption model, you're moving from an OpEx, from a CapEx to an OpEx model, then HPE GreenLake for compute is an ideal solution for you. And then finally, we'll wrap it up by talking about our services, HPE PointNext services. So HPE PointNext has added complete care for secure locations. These are locations that may not, maybe have high restriction. They may not be able to communicate to the outside world. Maybe it's a dark site. And so HPE PointNext has a new offering for that. And so that's something for you to check out. HPE PointNext is also enabling an an expert on demand solution for those customers that want to have an expert on demand, someone on speed dial, that this is also another great offering from PointNext. And then another thing that customers have asked for is a longer support contract, ability to have longer support contracts or longer duration for support. And so this is another new offering that has been rolled out from HPE PointNext. And so if any of these are something that you're interested in, please visit hpe.com and visit and check out the HPE PointNext services. I want to thank you today for your time. Thank you for being here. And For additional information, please visit our HPE and AMD partner page for more information. I'm now turning it over to you, Scott.
All right, Darren and Bradley, a lot of great features, metrics, benchmark results there. Nice offerings. All right, so we've got some questions coming in. Are you guys ready for the questions?
Yes, I'm ready.
Sure thing, yeah.
Okay, super. Bradley, it looks like this first one's for you. I wonder if you can. They're wondering if you can tell us a little bit about what's unique about AMD's approach to security.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So it's been foundational for us from the beginning, from the first generation Epic. We really have taken a security-first approach, and yeah, really we've got some unique features there. I think if you look at the very first generation of Epic, we introduced something called SME, Secure Memory Encryption, as well as a feature called SEV, Secure Encrypted Virtualization. SME allows the system to be able to encrypt that memory space, whereas otherwise it's stored in clear text. And SEV helps isolate guests and hypervisors from one another. This, would help protect from like either rogue VM or a malicious administrator with privileges, snooping into the memory space of your VM. So both there's really powerful features that are unique to AMD. We introduced those with that first generation of Epic, and every generation since has iteratively improved on those. I think those are really powerful ones that are unique to what we have to offer.
Okay. All right. Super. Thank you. Darren, this next one looks like is for you. They're wondering when can I order the Gen 11 products?
Thanks for the question. Very great question. We announced the Gen 11 platforms on November the 1st, and the platforms were orderable on November the 10th. So you can order today, reach out to your account team or out to your channel partner, your reseller, and they can get you hooked up with the new Gen 11 servers.
Okay. All right. Super. Bradley, for this next one, it looks like somebody on the call has a sustainability initiative. They noted the HPE carbon footprint report that Darren mentioned, but they're wondering how AMD is focused on sustainability.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, it's a key part of every CPU we design. Every architecture choice or every feature choice comes with a cost or real estate or a power penalty. So power is a big part of that deciding factor. So we've really leaned in as far as leveraging the improvements at the core design level, at the choices that we're making with the architecture, as well as using the latest process technology, that 5 nanometer process technology we've partnered with TSMC to build out. Has really allowed us to go deliver more compute per watt than ever. So that means, being able to meet your compute needs with, either fewer servers or doing it with less power. And so, that means, less power cost, less carbon footprint, and just overall, less cost to supply power to those systems. So really that hopefully, helps enable customer sustainability goals, whether it's, reducing carbon footprint or just reducing the cost of power. Both of those things are part of what we're trying to focus on.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you. Let's see. This next one is Radley, I guess this one's also for you. They're asking if they've got an Intel install base, and they're wondering if they can migrate to the new 4th gen Epic system.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, and it's one that comes up a lot. So yes, absolutely, you can migrate. Now, there's full transparency. You can't live migrate from one architecture to another, but the reality is, even within our competitor set of offerings, between CPU generations, at some point you need either reboot or cold migrate. I think to help ease some of that concern or transitions, we've just published a new tool called the VMware Architecture Migration Tool, VAMT. It's an open source tool that helps automate the cold migration process and includes things like VMware success validation, audit trails, rollback features, that kind of stuff to be able to help ease that process and make it easy. If migration is a concern, maybe a tool like that is one that could help ease that concern. But absolutely, it's a migration path from one architecture to the other is possible.
Okay, super. And before we get on to the next question, I just want to put a poll up for everybody. It's, what are the next steps HPE and AMD can help you with? and there's a check box there, so you can click as many of those as makes sense for you. And we'll just leave that up for a little bit while we continue with the Q&A. And if you didn't get a chance to click on that link that was on the thank you slide there, I'll put that back up when the poll is over. But you can also find it in your handout section. We've got the same link in there for you. So next question looks like it's for Darren. It comes from Bhavesh, who's asking about the ILO and supply chain security. I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about how that works, maybe for people who are unfamiliar with it, what that does and what it offers.
Sure. Well, so trusted supply chain is really about before anything ever hits the factory, before any materials arrive in the factory, is having a very, very tight integration with the supply chain to control all aspects of it, to deliver those additional layers of security for customers. There isn't a connection, so to speak, necessarily between trusted supply chain and ILO, except from this standpoint that part of the trusted supply chain offering is, and when you order or you decide to choose trusted supply chain, there are some additional things that get enabled at the factory during the factory build. For example, intrusion detection latch that gets installed. The ILO advanced high security mode that is enabled. Enablement of UEFI secure boot. The BIOS is put into a server configuration lock with transit mode enabled. So what we're doing is that we're setting the server up and building the server. Again, prior to the material showing up, we're bringing in having that really tight integration with our suppliers. But then in the factory, enabling and turning on some additional features. So that way, once the server leaves, that in transit, from the time it leaves the factory until it arrives at your door, there is some additional security measures that have been put in place. That would be the extent of the authentication that's done in the factory level from an ILO 6 perspective.
All right, super. There's a question here from Marco, and this is Radley. This is I'll direct this to you, but this may be more of like a CEO level question. So if you want to defer, I understand. But Marco's asking, with global constraints, what's the approach AMD has decided to take to combat increasing costs as well as stay innovative while still being able to deliver within customer budgets? I mean, obviously these last couple of years have been a challenge, for chips and for, even getting raw materials. Anything you can say about that?
Yeah, certainly I'll point you to Lisa for a lot of good information. So keep your ears open for anything Lisa has to say, because this is very much up her alley. But I'll talk a little bit about it. I think much of what we've done, on the server space really is focusing around innovation. And you look at what we've delivered so far, and then what we're intending to do in the roadmap. It doesn't let off the gas pedal there. It's continue to push and drive forward as far as technologies, features, capabilities, core counts, things of that nature. One of the ways we talk about combating customer budgets is around the flexibility of single socket versus dual socket. Darren showed some of the new platforms that we're building together with HPE. Those single socket offerings are systems that are very, very capable, right? With up to 96 cores and 12 channels of memory. There's a lot of compute capability in that single socket system. And what you get out of that is compute capability with the reduced footprint of component requirements, a single CPU, single set of memory at a lower power footprint. All of that would help to drive some of those budgets down.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody who answered the poll. We'll get you those materials or those that stuff afterward. I do want to put this slide back up as promised with the link on it. Again, that's also in your handout section. But we're kind of wrapping up here. So if you are interested in that link, I'd recommend clicking on it now before the event ends. Obviously, Darren, you talked about this a little bit, but just anything else you want to say about if somebody wants to get started, with a partnership, what are some good next steps, or maybe even materials to look out for, to highlight within that link?
Thanks, Scott. Yes, I mean, so there's a lot of information out on HPE.com. You can learn. You can go to AMD.com to learn as much as you want about the new processor family. Tremendous amount of information out on the AMD.com site. You'll see the leaderboard where they have all of the benchmarks that are posted, so you'll see and be able to read a little more in depth about those. I encourage you to do that because it's really, really great information there about not only the performance, but about the improvements in efficiency. So some great information there as it relates to your workloads, which translates ultimately to the business outcomes that you're looking to achieve. And so I encourage you to go there. For all the other information specific to HPE ProLiant and the Gen11 servers, I highly recommend you go to hpe.com. We have a ton of new launch material that's posted out there. Some questions were here, some great questions, by the way. Thank you for those. Some great questions about trusted supply chain, about what is that, how's that work, how's that enabled. So you can go, and I'm actually sitting on one of the pages now. We have a couple of blog posts about it. We have some videos that have been done. We have some interviews with the security product manager on my team, where he's talking through some of that. Some really great information about trusted supply chain. Everyone today is concerned about security, rightfully so. And so it's some great information there as well. And then again, I can't say this enough, but a lot of great information about the Gen 11 servers with all of our launch materials that we've posted, as well as some of our so you'll see some pictures of the servers. You'll have to see the quick specs. You can go a little bit deeper on some of the specs around the servers. And then to finally wrap it up with this, Scott, to your question, is how do customers get started? You reach out to your account team. If you already have an account team that you're working with, please reach out to them. Tell them that let them know that you're interested in Gen 11, the Gen 11 servers. If you don't have an account team, we can certainly get you connected. You can also go to hpe.com and look there on how to find an account team. Or if you're using a reseller, by all means, please reach out to your reseller. They'll be able to help you. They'll have all the information. Resellers, we've been rolling out training to resellers since before the product launch. So reach out to your reseller, have a conversation with them, tell them you're interested in HPE Gen 11, HPE ProLiant Gen 11 servers with AMD.
All right, super. Yeah, and Radley, same to you. Any closing thoughts, or or things you'd like to point people to if they'd like more information other than the partner page?
Mostly just appreciate the time. And I think Darren highlighted many, many key important things. And one other thing I'd add to that is, if there are folks curious on looking at competitive comparison, there are some TCO calculators that you can get to. And if you just Google AMD Epic TCO tool, it'll link you to a couple versions. That'll give you a view of being able to go look at CPU to CPU, what kind of TCO advantages and savings can you have in that kind of transition. This is a really helpful, interesting thing to go be able to look at.
All right. Well, that's tremendous. Radley, Darren, thank you both. Appreciate the updates on what's happening with AMD and HPE. This has been really informative, and I just want to thank you guys for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thanks everyone for attending.
All right, and before we wrap up, we have one more piece of business. It's the Amazon gift card prize drawing, and the winner of that gift card today is Zachary Meyer from Missouri. So congratulations to Zachary. We'll be in touch to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I do want to again thank HPE and AMD for making this event possible. And thanks as always for attending and for your great questions. That concludes today's event. Have a great rest of your day.